What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Sorta Knows Science. I'm Drew, and thank you for listening. A little bit of a shorter episode today for you, but let's get into it. We're going to talk about a little bit of astronomy. This article is called New Study Examines Which Galaxies Are Best for Intelligent Life. This is from Science Daily by the University of Arkansas. So, giant elliptical galaxies aren't as likely to hold technological civilizations as people previously thought. A study in 2015 said that elliptical galaxies would be 10,000 times more likely to harbor advanced civilizations than spiral disk galaxies such as our own, the Milky Way. But this new study says differently. Now, the old one said that elliptical would have more stars and also have a lower rate of potentially lethal supernova, which they theorized would then increase the chance for them to have planets such as our own. But a retired professor of astrophysics, David Whitmire, says that the study contradicts the rule of a rule called the principle of mediocrity, which states that if an item is drawn at random from one of several sets of categories, it's likelier to come from the most numerous category than from any one of the less numerous categories. So, with that being said, Whitmire asked, why don't we live in an elliptical galaxy? Because reasoning would think that if a elliptical galaxy is more likely to harbor life, then we're an outlier. Because if we live in a spiral disk, that those two don't really correlate. So we would then be coming from the less numerous category, with elliptical being the more numerous. So, reasoning says that Earth should be technically in the more numerous, and so should our location in the galaxy and our galaxy itself. So, Whitmire said about large elliptical galaxies that, quote, they were awash in lethal radiation when they were younger and smaller, and they went through a series of quasar and starburst supernova events at the time. Now, ellipticals evolve a lot more differently than spirals like our own. Excuse me. And that lethal radiation that was mentioned would have nuked any hospitable planets as well as the star formation rate. So the number of new planets being formed essentially went to zero. Now, galaxies like our own are more likely to have civilizations as expected by the principle, says this new study. And, I mean, it makes sense. You know, we are the only life that we know of in the universe. So why would we make ourselves the outlier when simple reasoning kind of just would make you think that, yeah, probably another spiral galaxy, a planet in a similar position of the galaxy, such as our own, would probably have a good chance of having life on it. But, you know, people keep finding more and more exoplanets, and who knows, maybe one of these days we'll just come in contact with some life. Well, that's about it for this episode. The only reason I'm doing it shorter this week is because if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, which is Sunday, May 10th, it's Mother's Day. So, stop listening to me and go spend time with your mother. Thank you for listening. Again, if you like it, please share. And if you want to look more into it, please do. Go ahead and listen to the previous episodes if you haven't already. Everything I talk about then is still very relevant. But that's about it. We'll see you next week for episode 7. We'll be talking about a new physics topic. and hopefully some cool things happen in science this week. We'll see you next week. Peace.